Hello and welcome back to Voyage of a Time Wanderer. Today I want to talk about my reading and channel goals for 2022. So as we enter into 2022, I have a few bookish New Year's resolutions that I would love to share. I've kind of split them into reading goals and Booktube channel goals. So I'm going to start with my reading goals. So for my first reading goal, I have made a list of 12 classics that I would like to get to in 2022, and I have a whole video coming out about that tomorrow. So if you're watching this on the day it's released, come back again tomorrow to see which 12 classics I'm going to try to prioritize. Next year, it's got a mix of Victorian literature, Canadian classics, and I'm hoping to dip my toes finally into Russian classics. If you're watching this a few days after it's published, I will try to add a link up here to my 12 classics video so you can just continue on directly to there. So my first reading goal is just to continue to prioritize getting to some of those classics that I have wanted to read for a long time, both through this list of 12 classics that I want to read, as well as Jane Austen July, Victober, and being part of Kate Howe's Patreon book club. Those are kind of the four venues that I have to encourage reading classics throughout the year. Then my second reading goal is related to my Goodreads goal, and for 2022 I am going to be setting my goal again to 50 books. This is kind of what I would consider the bare minimum. I have set my goal as 50 for the last 5 or 6 years, I think, and pre-2020 I was kind of hitting like 55 to 65 books, and then in the last 2 years I have read just over 100, which is fantastic. Getting more books crossed off of my to-read list. So I'll be setting my goal at 50 on Goodreads, and if I read 50 I will be happy. But I'll be kind of mentally having 100 books as my stretch goal that would be really fantastic, and I think is maybe more of a true indication of my typical reading pace over the past few years. Then my third goal is to read from 5 new African countries as part of my Reading Africa challenge. This is kind of a standing goal. I always try to read from 5 new countries. Some years I reach that goal, some years I get sucked into reading books from countries that I've already read from, so I don't get to as many new countries. But until I finally finish reading at least one book from each country in Africa, I will be continuing to have my goal be to read from 5 new countries each year. This year, one of the books that I'm really hoping to get to is Out of Darkness, Shining Light by Patina Gapa. This book is written by an author from Zimbabwe, and it is telling the story of the African men and women who transported Livingstone's body after he passed away, along with his different equipment and written materials, from where he died in the interior of Zambia all the way to the coast of Tanzania so that it could be put on a boat and returned to England to be buried there. From what I can gather from the inside flap, it's written from 2 perspectives, one of which being Livingstone's cook and the other being his secretary, and I think it'll just be a really unique perspective on this story. And at the very beginning of the book we have some maps, which to me is always a sign of a great historical fiction novel when you need to reference a map. I love books that are so rooted in the time and place that you have to have that kind of reference material in the front. So I think I will really enjoy this book. So I think I'm really going to enjoy this book and learning more from the perspective of local voices about Livingstone's exploration and his impact on that region of Southern Africa. Then my fourth reading goal is to finally get to Hilary Mantel's Thomas Cromwell trilogy, starting with Wolf Hall. I just picked this up from my used bookstore, so I am ready to go with this in January. I have been intimidated by these because it is a 3-book trilogy and each book is about this size, so it's definitely going to be a time commitment. But everyone I know who has read books in this series has said they are absolutely incredible, and I think I will really enjoy it because I do love Tudor-era fiction, and this is kind of like gold tier Tudor-era fiction from what I've heard. So it's definitely a goal of mine in 2022 to finally tackle this trilogy. Then my 5th reading goal is to try to clear off my currently reading shelf on Goodreads. I have 14 books on there right now, and I don't like having that many books. Towards the end of 2019, I had finally gotten it down to a reasonable handful. I think I was down to like 4, but it is slowly being climbing back up, and so I want to either finish the books that are on that currently reading shelf or accept that they are DNFs and move them off onto my did not finish shelf, because I don't like having that many books on my currently reading shelf. I like it to be more reflective of what I'm actually currently reading. So that is another of my 2020 reading goals, to either finish the books that are on that shelf, or else just accept that they weren't the books for me, or I didn't pick them up at the right time, and move them off that shelf so that it can be better reflective of what I'm actually reading at the moment. And then my 6th reading goal is another kind of standing reading goal for me, and that is to read at least one nonfiction book a month. I typically read, I would say, between 15 to 20 nonfiction books in a year, and that's including like theological Christian nonfiction. So I would like to continue reading nonfiction at about that pace, and it's been good to have this goal to kind of spread out my nonfiction reading so that I'm not reading a ton in nonfiction November and then not picking up nonfiction throughout the rest of the year. So I'm definitely going to continue to have as a goal, as I have in past years, to read at least one nonfiction, if not 2, every month. And then moving on to my bookish goals that are more related to Booktube and this lovely channel of mine. The first Booktube goal that I have for 2022 is to finally reach 500 subscribers. At the time I'm filming this, kind of right at the end of December, I am just above 300 subscribers, and I think I gained about 200 subscribers over the course of 2021, so I think 500 is definitely an achievable goal by the end of 2022, and once I hit 500 subscribers, I'll have access to the community tab, so I can do more posts over here instead of just on Instagram, and polls, and kind of interact more with my viewers, which I think would be a lot of fun. So that is my main like numbers goal for Booktube in 2022. My second Booktube goal is to be more consistent in releasing a video every week. So I have sketched out from now till the end of December a video for every Monday. So I'm hoping by the end of 2022 I will have for sure 52 new videos, and then maybe a few Friday reads or other fun tags or whatnot sprinkled in as well. But I definitely want to be publishing at least one video each and every Monday in 2022. So fingers crossed, because in 2021 I actually published quite a few videos. I think when I counted it was like the high 30s maybe, but I definitely have been more like really active one month and then not so active the next month. So I would like to spread out that creative energy and actually maintain a consistent upload schedule. So we'll see how that works out for me. And then my third Booktube goal is I would really love to do a Q&A video, maybe around my birthday in June. I think it would be really fun to see what kind of questions you all have for me, and maybe an opportunity to discuss some bookish topics that I hadn't thought of bringing up or didn't think people would be interested in. So I am planning to do at some point in 2022 a Q&A video, like I said, probably in June, or if I hit 500 subscribers faster than I'm suspecting, maybe I'll do it to commemorate that. Then my fourth Booktube goal is to once again participate in Jane Austen July, Victober, and Nonfiction November. Those are kind of the 3 month-long read-alongs that are firm in my reading calendar each and every year, and I really enjoyed the reading vlogs that I did for Jane Austen July and Victober. It was a lot of fun putting those together, and so I would like to not just participate in those read-alongs, but at least for Jane Austen July and Victober, which kind of have more of an aesthetic vibe. I would love to do reading vlogs to accompany my reading experience through those classics themed months as well. And this year I wasn't very active on Booktube in November. Work ended up being more hectic than I thought, so although I read some nonfiction, I didn't get to talk about it here on my channel, and so I really would like to make sure that I am posting some videos for Nonfiction November in 2022, because it is another read-along that I love participating in, and I have found some wonderful nonfiction titles through people's Nonfiction November videos, so I definitely want to be a more active participant in that as well. And then speaking of readathons, my 5th goal in 2022 is to co-host a readathon, and I have something that I've already been invited to participate in that I'm quite excited about, so this is one of the goals that I'm quite confident I will be able to tick off by the end of the year. And if you continue to watch this space over the next few months, you should see an exciting announcement video, and I'm really excited to be co-hosting a readathon in 2022. And then my sixth and final Booktube goal is to post at least 2 more of my reading through my family tree videos. I really enjoy putting together those lists of books and reading through a selection of fiction and nonfiction titles that tie into my family tree in some way. So I know for sure that I want to start the new year off in probably January or February with a Dutch version of reading through my family tree. I love historical fiction set in the Dutch Golden Age, and I've got this new title to me that I'm really excited to pick up. I think the cover is absolutely stunning. It's got all of my favorite things, the little like Dutch houses from Amsterdam, blue and white Delft pattern, and it has a connection to Rembrandt and some other famous Golden Age painters. And I love that a lot of Dutch historical fiction has that tie-in to famous paintings and famous painters. This is actually written by a Dutch author, and it was only available in Dutch for a long time, so it was really exciting when the English translation came out and I was finally able to pick up a copy. So I know for sure that I want to do a Dutch edition of Reading Through My Family Tree, and then I think I'll probably be doing a Scottish edition for the other episode that I want to post this year. So those are my reading and channel goals for 2022. I'm really excited about the reading plans that I have for this year, as well as the video ideas that I have percolating, so I hope you'll be continuing to stay along for the ride and continue watching my channel in 2022. Thanks for watching, and until next time, enjoy wandering through the pages of a good book. Bye.